Hi, I'm Mrs. Wright, a second grade teacher in the yellow hallway, and we are back for another writing lesson. Today, you're going to need the letter that we started yesterday. You're also going to need a pencil and the book that you were writing about. So, grab those materials and come right back, and we will get started. All right, let's get started and take a look at what we wrote yesterday. Remember, we talked first about looking at these six reasons why you enjoy a book, and you can write about other things, and then writing at least two of them in the body of the letter that you wrote. So here's what we wrote yesterday. March 28th, 2020. Dear Mrs. Krajewski, you should read the book The Sandwich Swap by Queen Rania Al Abdullah and Kelly DiPuccio. I love looking at the pictures because they really help tell the story. For example, Salma and Lily had smiles on their faces in the pictures at the beginning of the story, which told me they were happy. The story teaches some important lessons. This makes a great book to read to your class because your students could learn from the lessons. For example, one lesson that can be learned from the story is to accept others for their differences. I think your class will enjoy this book and I hope you read it to them. Your teacher friend, Mrs. Wright. Our goal today is to revise and add to our introduction. Okay, we are going to write the introduction of the letter two ways, and we will write it pretending our reader has not read the book, and also write it another way pretending our reader has read the book. We're going to take a look quickly at another chart. All right, so we need to think about our reader, and the first thing we need to think about is, have they ever read the book? So like I said, we're going to write it two different ways. One as if they've already read the book, and another way as if they've never read the book before. We also want to make sure we retell interesting parts of the story, and we include details they would enjoy. And if they had never read the book, we don't want to give away the ending. We want to keep it a secret. All right, so let's look at one of the introduction paragraphs. So in this example, I wrote the introduction to a reader who hasn't read the book already. And you want to make sure when you write the introduction, you include these four things. You want to make sure you include the title of the book. You also want to make sure that you include the author of the book and the genre of the story, the genre of the book, and a short summary. So those are the four things that we want to make sure we include in the introduction. So again, we need to keep in mind that the reader hasn't read the book already, so we can't give away the ending, but we want to tell some interesting details, but we don't want to give away too much. So this is what I wrote. You should read the book, The Sandwich Swap by Queen Rania Al Abdullah and Kelly DiPuccio. And right there, I told the title, so the Sandwich Swap. And I also told the author. And there were two authors, Queen Rania Al Abdullah and Kelly DiPuccio. And there's one more thing I need to do. We need to make sure we underline the title of the book when we're writing. Okay, so then I continued. I said this book is realistic fiction, which is the genre of the story. So right here is where I told the genre, the type of book. The story is about two girls, Lily and Salma, who are best friends but get in a fight over the difference in what they each eat for lunch at school. I read it and fell in love. I knew my students would feel the same, and I was right. I know you and your students will love it as well. And right here is where I included just a short summary of the book, keeping in mind that this introduction was written for a reader who hasn't read the book already. So I said it was about two girls, Lily and Salma, who are best friends, but get in a fight over the difference in what they each eat for lunch at school. Notice that I didn't give away anything about how the book ended in this introduction because I know my reader hasn't actually read the book. So this is one example of writing an introduction to a reader who hasn't read the book. Let's look at another way you can write the introduction if the reader has read the book. And again, you want to include these four same things in it. You want to include the title of the book. You also want to include the author of the book. You want to tell what the genre of the story is. And you want to include a short summary. Okay, so here's what I wrote, keeping in mind that my reader has read the book already. So I could tell anything about this story because they already read it. So I started off and I said, I know that you have read The Sandwich Swap by Queen Rania Al Abdullah and Kelly DiPuccio. And right in that first sentence, I told the title, The Sandwich Swap. And, I'm sorry, let me go back and erase that because that was supposed to be in red. So again, that was the title, The Sandwich Swap. And I also told the authors, Queen Rania Al Abdullah and Kelly DiPuccio. And again, I need to go back and make sure I underline the title of the book. And then I continued and I said this book is realistic fiction, and that is the genre of the book, realistic fiction, which means it's a made-up story, but it could really happen. I continued and wrote, I loved it, and students in my class seemed to as well. I especially loved at the end when Salma and Lily agreed to try each other's sandwich, and they both did it at the same time, counting 1, 2, 3. As you know, they both discovered the shared sandwiches were delicious, even though they didn't think so at the beginning. What a great book. And right here is where I included the short summary, and I did talk about the end of the book because my reader has already read the book, so we could talk about that in the letter. Okay, so these are two different ways that you can write the introduction of your book. This is if your reader has read the book already, and here's an example of if the reader has not read the book already. What I want you to do is look at who you decided to write your letter to that you started yesterday. And I want you to think, is this person someone you think has read that book? Or do you think it's a new book that they have never read before? And your job today is to revise and add to your introduction. And you're going to make it sound like you're talking to that person. And you want to keep in mind these 4 things. You want to think about, have they read the book or not? You want to make sure you're retelling interesting parts in your summary and you're including details that they would enjoy. And if they haven't read the book, you don't want to give away the ending. Okay? Make sure that you include also in the introduction the title of the book, the author of the book, the genre, and just a short summary of the book. But keep in mind your audience when you do this the whole time. In the next video, we're going to work on the conclusion for both the conclusion to your letter, written both to a reader who has read the book and a reader who has not read the book. You are becoming better writers each time we work on our writing together. See you next time. Bye.